Hi, my name is Bruno and I'm your quantitative instructor at MBAprep. This is class number one and we will discuss quantitative question types. But before, let's take a look at the general structure of this exam. The GMAT has four sections. First one is the analytical written assessment, in which you should compose one essay in 30 minutes and it's mainly graded from 0 to 6. Where 6 will mean that not only is your grammar very good, but your text is also concise, comprehensible, and you really made your point when you wrote that. The second section is the integrated reasoning with 12 questions. It lasts 30 minutes. These questions have multiple sources with charts, tables, passages, bullet points. It's the only one section in the GMAT where you can use a calculator. That's automatically graded from 0 to 8, where these numbers are related to the percentile of test takers in the previous years that were better than you or worse than you, however you prefer. The third section is the quantitative section with 37 questions. It lasts 75 minutes, which gives us about 2 minutes per question. And theoretically, it's graded from 0 to 60. But due to the algorithm limitations, it's graded from 6 to 51. The verbal section is the last section. It has 41 questions with 75 minutes, which gives us about a minute and 50 seconds to complete it. It is scored from 0 to 60, and due to the same limitations, 6 to 51. These two scores together will generate the GMAT score, as you might have heard about, which is graded from 200 to 800, where 800 is a very hard grade to get. About 20 people around the world, according to the information that I read in the GMAT website a few months ago, get it per year out of pool of more than 200,000 participants. Usually people think that the GMAT is only this. This is the most important grade. But how it's composed and these two scores also help the university to select their candidates. The quantitative questions have two types. The problem solving, which is a straightforward type of question. You have a question with some information, you translate into math, and then you solve the problem and we select only one of the five answer choices. And the data sufficiency. The data sufficiency, according to the experience that I've had in these past 4 years, is the type of question that the students hate the most when they start the prep program and that they love the most when they finish the prep program. And why? It's hard to change how you think. And data sufficiency is all about this. It's about determining whether you can answer a situation that you will find a lot in your life when you've done your MBA programs. You want to be managers at least, and managers have to know whether their staff or their resources are sufficient or not. You have some information that is optional, the question stem, two statements that are the information that might help you to answer the question, and plus five standardized answer choices. This is a typical problem-solving question. Let's take a look at it. A taxi service company charges $1.25 per mile and 30 cents per minute. Mary rode for 12 miles and the average speed was 30 miles per hour. How much this trip cost her? Basic hand, split the problem. We have a problem with the distance and another problem with time it takes her. So 125 cents per mile. Why do I read like this? It's better that you read in some way that's comprehensible to your brain, not by the way that it's written in the text. Yes, I swear that at least 90% of my students would just do this. 125 times 12. But that's not the best thing to do. It's 250 times 6. It's better. Oops. And I can yet split that into a better way. 500 times 3. So I have $15 for the first part of the problem. And then I also have a limitation by the time, because we have also a fee per minute. So 30 cents per minute. But I have 12 miles, 30 miles per hour. So this fraction of hour, I could simplify and so on, but it's better to multiply by 2 because when I read this, oops, 24 minutes, 24 out of 60 minutes, 24 minutes. Then 24 minutes times 3. Just do that, and then, well, oops, I don't know what should I do. Do the math as you prefer. It's better to make a question correct, well, for sure, fast, but try to solve it in your head and then making a mistake. Sum, basic sum, letter C. There is also a question that has this type of expression. Must be true, could be true. Just pay attention to what's asked. Must, strict. Could, you just should find one case. Usually must be true questions are harder than the could be true questions. If A, B, and C are consecutive positive integers and A is less than B that is less than C, which of the following must be true? We have the order, we know that they are consecutive positive integers, then the difference between the largest to the smallest is 2. That's true, and that must be true. ABC is an even integer. So, if I have consecutive positive integers, if A is even, the product for sure will be even. But if A is odd, so B is even. Anyway, the product will always be even. So this one must be true. And the average of A, B, and C is an integer. They are consecutive positive integers. We have the order, and we can even point out that B is the average because it's the median. It's a property of consecutive positive integers when the quantity of integers is odd. So this one is also true, always true. So letter E, 1, 2, and 3. If you were not really on this question, you might miss this. You think, well, it might not be an integer. Then there will be an answer choice for those who are not paying attention, which is letter C. Pay attention, you're going to make it right. The data sufficiency question types. You have this big text. So these are the 5 standardized answer choices. But I teach my students that you can use a mnemonic to know what's the answer. So we have the letter A, B, C, D, and E, which we have first statement only, second statement only together. So alone they are not sufficient, but together you can answer the question asked. Each statement alone is sufficient, and neither together. So you don't even solve that, even though we have joined two statements. Learning to do data sufficiency is much better when you try it. And there are two types of data sufficiency questions. The numeric answer, where you have to find the number or better, you have to determine whether you can find the number. This is the structure. If G's average score for 3 games of bowling was 168, that's the optional information that might come with the question. This is the question schema. What was her lowest score? First statement. G's highest score was 204. Well, if I have the average, I could find the sum, but I don't have the highest scores, so I have two scores that I don't know. Can I determine what's the lowest? No. So this one's not sufficient. The sum of these two highest scores was 364. If I have the sum of the three and of the two highest, then I can infer that I know the sum of the lowest score. So the second statement is sufficient. Letter B. What didn't I do here? The calculation. But I really don't need that. If I do the data sufficiency question as it should be done, determining the sufficiency of data, so it's all in the name of the question, we're going to make it in, I don't know, 2 seconds. So what to do with 1 minute and 30 seconds that I have not used? Use it in the next question that will be harder, because in the GMAT, when you make a question right, the next question is harder. When you make it wrong, the next question most probably will be easier. So you can save time in the question that you know, and data sufficiency is very good for this. There's also the logical question type. Are at least 10% of the population over 6 years old employed? No. There is no optional information in this question. The question stem is just to answer whether something is true or false. First, 10.5% of the men over 60 years old are employed. This one does not give me any information about women, so not sufficient. Next, forget the first statement. 9.4% of the women over 60 years old are employed. This one is not sufficient as well, because it does not give me information about the men. So we should consider it together. When I do it, well, 10.5, 9.4, if you're not paying attention, you might try to find the average, but it's not right, because I don't know the proportion of men over 60 to women over 60. So, well, I cannot find. So, not sufficient. Statements 1 and 2 together are not sufficient to answer the question asked, and additional data are needed. What's additional data in this case? To know the proportion of men over 60 to women over 60. So, letter E. Wow. I really hope this first class has elucidated you how the GMAT test is, what is the quantitative section, what problems you should expect, and then we'll see the next class, number properties, just what class number